Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. And if you are new to my channel, I am Patty, and on Mondays I make characters and animals and gnomes. And on Thursdays I do all kinds of other crafts and budget-friendly home decor. So today I'm going to bring you a super cute little animal that I had a lot of requests for. It's a little elephant. See how cute he is? Got a little tail, got little legs, little collar with a little ruffle. If you want to know how to make this little guy, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, we're going to start with a piece of fleece. It measures 8 3/4 by 5 3/4, and we are going to glue down the 5 3/4 inch side. And just fold that over and let that dry real well. Then we're going to go ahead and turn it right side out. And I'm using a 4-inch styrofoam egg for the body, and I will give you the link for that in the description below. They come from Amazon. And just go put it right up inside of there. And then we're going to hand stitch a casing around the bottom part of it to draw it in. And then we're going to do the same thing for the top part. This is you're only going to do just a little bit of sewing, hand sewing on this project. Most of it's going to be glue. And just make 1/4 inch stitches all the way around till you get to the opposite side, and then we are just going to draw this up. And then just go pull it tight, and then just tie your strings off. Okay, next just go ahead and put some glue down inside of the tip just so that it stays in place. Next, go ahead and gather up the opposite end, and we're going to trim it off because you just want enough so that when you gather it up, all of it meets right into the center. So I probably cut off about maybe 3/4 of an inch, but you'll be able to determine that when you get ready. Just make sure that the two centers all meet together, and then I'm going to trim off a little bit more right there. I would say all in all, I probably cut off about an inch. Just make sure your centers meet. And then go ahead and take some thread and do a casing exactly like you did on the opposite side and draw it up. And then go ahead and gather that up and then just tie it as tight as you can. You're going to sharpen both ends of a 1/4 inch by 6 inch dowel stick with a pencil sharpener. Okay, next go ahead and attach your dowel stick to the largest part of the egg. Just push it down in there, and then we're going to cut this off about an inch. But we're going to go ahead and poke it into here, and then we're going to go ahead and cut an inch off, and then we're going to go ahead and put it into the styrofoam ball that we're going to use for our head, just to kind of make sure we got the measurements right. Go ahead and push it right into the styrofoam ball. That's a 2.4 inch styrofoam ball. You just want to make sure that about half of it goes into the egg and half of it goes into the ball. And then we're going to go ahead and glue it into the egg. And you're just going to run it about halfway down into it. We're going to cut two 4 3/4 inch circles out of the same fleece, and we're just going to glue these together. Now we're going to leave an opening at the end to stick our styrofoam ball in, and I've given you the pattern for this in the description below. You can just download it and print it. And I've also given it to you in both SVG and PDF. So we're going to come around probably about, we're probably going to leave about a 2-inch opening at the bottom. Once that dries real good, we're going to turn it right side out, and we're just going to attach our ball. And honestly, I used hot glue on this. I wish I had used the fabric tack instead. I'm using it throughout the rest of the video, but I would go ahead and use the fabric tack. And then go ahead and start gluing your two sides together, your two short sides together to the center of that ball, and then we're going to gather up the rest of it. It did smooth out pretty good on the hot glue, but I wish I had used the fabric tack. And then just go ahead and stitch all the way around this side and then join it to the other side, and then we're going to draw it up. And this is all going to be covered up with we're going to put a little collar around his neck, just like a little ruffle collar, so don't worry about it being so perfect because it is going to get covered up. Okay, then go ahead and draw that up real good and just tie that off. And you want to make sure you tie this in a knot really well. And then go ahead and cut the string off, and we're going to attach the head and the body together. Okay, then just make sure that your seam is in the back on the egg and that your seams go side to side on the top part, and then go ahead and glue them together. Okay, next we're going to take a piece of fabric that measures 16 3/4 by 2.5, and we are going to make a ruffle collar to go around the neck. And we're just going to fold these over in half, and we're just going to take a needle and thread and just stitch a casing to draw it up. And you don't have to hem one end of it at all, because this is a fleece. You know, you're not going to see any raw edges on it. And you could do this in a contrasting color if you wanted to. I just tried to match it up with the elephant that I was doing. And then just draw it up real tight, and then we're going to go ahead and tie it right around the neck. Just pull it really tight. And then go ahead and tie it in a knot. Okay, next for this pattern, this is the legs. We're going to just cut 4 of these out. And then we are going to glue these together with the same fabric tack that I was talking about a little bit ago. It's called by Beacon, and I'll give you the link for that. And we're going to start right at the bottom, go all the way around the toe area, and then we're going to leave the bottom edge open. And then you're going to have to let this dry maybe for about 20 minutes before you can turn it right side out. But this makes it a little bit softer, and when you turn it right side out, the edge is not real crusty like. And then do the other leg exactly the same way. Okay, while those are drying, we're going to take a 1.8-inch styrofoam ball, and we're just going to cut it in half. And this is what we're going to use for the foot. Just make sure they're even. And then we're going to glue these to some craft foam. And I'm just using gray craft foam, and just glue the bottom edge of it to the craft foam. And then when it dries, we're going to cut these circles out. And that'll be the bottom of his foot. Okay, next, just to kind of give a little definition to his foot, I'm just going to take some darker gray paint, and I'm just going to go around the edges and then down the center just to kind of distress it up a little bit, you know, because an elephant's foot's not going to be perfect. Just gives a little bit of depth and a little bit of color variation, and it'll help it look more natural. Well, as natural as a stuffed animal can be. And then do the same thing for the opposite foot. Next, go ahead and turn them right side out. Just make sure that they are dry real well. And then we are going to use some doll attaching pieces to get these attached to the elephant. And what it is, it's just a little wooden disc and a cotter pin. And we're going to attach these to the inside of these legs. So just find exactly where you want to put that, close to the top part of the leg. And then we're going to take a hole punch and punch a hole so that it can go through it. These are called doll joints. And just poke a hole right there, and then we're going to glue the wooden part inside of the foot, and the cotter pin will come straight out of the foot, and that's what we're going to attach it to the body. Just make sure you have opposite sides on here. And then go ahead and stick the cotter pin with the wooden disc inside, and then we're going to glue that wooden disc in place so it doesn't move. And then we attach it to the body. We're going to take a little washer that comes with that kit, and we're going to glue it to the body. And you'll see here in a little bit. This is just an easy way to glue pieces that are side legs. And then we're going to stuff these very full. And go ahead and make sure that the toe is straight too. You know, fill these up pretty full. And then we're going to put our styrofoam ball foot into the bottom of these to make the bottom part. Just push it right on in there all the way down and then just glue that around. Just try to get up to the edge. Try not to overhang too much. You can trim off what you didn't, but try to get as close to the edge as you can. And then make sure you get it glued all the way around so that all that stuffing stays inside. And do the exact same thing with the other foot. And then just trim off any excess. You want to trim as close to the bottom as you can. Next, we're just going to go ahead and attach our legs to the body. Just put them on both sides and then just kind of push the pin in exactly where you want it, just to kind of make an indent there. And then I'm going to take an upholstery needle just to poke the hole a little bit farther in. You just want kind of a small hole right there just to put that in there. And then I'm going to glue a little washer on the outside of that hole, and it comes with that kit. Just do a circle around there, glue your washer on, that way it stays in place. And then we're going to go ahead and glue our leg inside of our body. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing for the opposite side. And just kind of hold it there till it's dry pretty good. Just make sure that your legs do line up in the front and that they are straight across from each other. You want to make sure that they are even before you glue that in. And then go ahead and attach your washer to this side as well. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that leg in as well. And just put a little bit of glue right around that cotter pin and then go ahead and hold it until it dries. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and make the arms, and we're going to cut 2 of each of these patterns out on both sides. I've given you these in the description as well below. Just go ahead and cut them out, and then we're going to glue them in. Now this is not completely even on here. You can see there's a short end and a taller end, and then the shorter end is going to be the part that actually attaches it to the body. Like where the elbow bends, you'll see the top part is going to be where you attach it to the body, and so you're going to go all the way around with your glue and you're going to stop at the top. And again, I'm using the Fabric Tack glue by Beacon, and it works great. You just want to let this dry really good before you turn it right side out. Okay, for the tail, we're going to take a 1/4 inch by 6 inch dowel stick and sharpen one end. Then we're going to cut it off at 2 1/4 inches in length. And that's 2 1/4 from the pointed part. Then we're going to take a piece of fabric that measures 3 1/2 by 2 inches, and we are going to glue down the long side 1 inch from the bottom all the way up. And then go ahead and fold that over and let that dry real well. While that dries, we're going to go ahead and turn the arms right side out. And then we are going to stuff these with some polyfill. Just kind of get them shaped out there real well so that you do have an elbow. And then we're going to stuff them pretty full. And I'm just using pliers to get it down in there. It's a really good way to get it started, especially when you have tight spots like that. And you want to make sure that you fill them the same so that they have the same weight on them. Okay, then go ahead and sharpen both ends of a 1/4 inch by 6 inch dowel stick. And then we're going to cut this in half, and half of it's going to go into the arm and the other half is going to go into the body. Just kind of cut it and make sure that they're a little bit even. Go ahead and put it down inside your arm, and then we're just going to go ahead and glue that inside the arm, and then that's going to get pushed up into the head. And I'm just going to cut it just a little bit shorter, about another 1/4 inch off of there, so it ends up being 2 1/2 inches in length. Just kind of get it centered in there, and then go ahead and put your glue in there and go ahead and squeeze it up around there so it's sealed in. And then do exactly the same thing with the other arm. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and attach it to the body, and we're just going to go straight at an angle up into the head. And just kind of poke a hole. Then I'm taking another dowel stick just to kind of waller it out a little bit farther. Just make sure that your elbow is towards the back. And then do the exactly same thing with the other arm. And then I didn't show you on camera to glue them in, but you want to go ahead and glue them in after you get them where they're supposed to be. Now for the tail, we're going to go ahead and turn it right side out. And then we're going to attach our dowel stick to the end that's sealed up, not the one that has the 1-inch opening on the bottom. Just kind of put it halfway in there and then go ahead and glue it in. And then on the opposite end where we had the 1-inch opening, we're going to go ahead and cut little slits in it just to kind of give it a little bit of frayed look on the bottom. Okay, with the body straight to the bottom, just kind of make sure you got it flat to the bottom. You want this to be as low as you can get this, and go ahead and take a dowel stick and just poke it in there. You just want to make sure that that tail is sitting on the bottom, because that does help balance him out. And then go ahead and pull it back out and glue it in. And you might want to try to get your seam a little bit straighter. As you can see, mine's a little bit offset. Just take your pattern piece and cut 2 of the gray and 2 of the pink. Okay, and then just make sure that you get your ears opposite of each other before you glue all this together. And I'm just using a pink fleece on this as well as the gray fleece. And then I'm going to use that same fabric tack just to glue them together. I'm just leaving the flat end open. And try to get as close to the edge as you can. You want to make sure that all your curves are still curved well. And then again, just leave the flat end open. And then do exactly the same thing with the opposite ear. After those have dried, go ahead and turn them right side out. Go ahead and pull on them just to make sure before you do turn them right side out that they are glued together well. Just kind of shape them and make sure that they are shaped good. Okay, then we're going to fold them in about a 1/2 inch. Just kind of tuck them in there. Okay, next take another 6-inch dowel stick, sharpen both ends, and we're going to cut these at 2 3/4 inches in length. Okay, next we're just going to fold in our edges about a 1/2 inch on both sides and glue those in. And then we're going to take our dowel stick with the pointy side out. We're just going to glue it right into the center, about halfway in. And then we're going to kind of scrunch it up a little bit and glue it in together. Just kind of squeeze it in a little bit. Just kind of give it a little bit of folds there. And then do the same thing with the other ear. Just fold in your edge about a 1/2 inch on both sides. And you're just going to kind of glue that up and just kind of squeeze that up a little bit. Kind of scrunch it up. Okay, then we're just going to attach them to the side of his head, kind of the lower part of it, probably a little bit, just maybe about 1 inch above where that ruffle is, and that's where you're going to attach that. And then we're going to do the same thing with the opposite side, and I'm just using an X-Acto knife just to poke the hole. And then I'm just going to glue the top edge and the bottom edge of the ear to the head, but I'm not going to glue my dowel stick in. You can if you want to, but I just did the top and the bottom of the ear. Because it's a pretty dense styrofoam ball, so it stayed in there real well just by itself. The elephant's trunk, we're going to use the same fleece, and I'm just going to cut 2 of the trunk pattern out. And again, these are all in the description below. You can download them. And if you don't see them, you can always download them from my website at www.pattyjgood.com. Okay, to glue it together, I'm using the same Fabri-Tac that I used on the rest of the stuff. This stuff works really good. And if you ever use it for sewing, you can actually machine wash it after you've done it. And just go all the way around the edges of it, but leave the top flat part open. And then you do want to let this dry real well. I let it set up for about 20 minutes before I turn it right side out. Next, I'm going to take a styrofoam ball that measures 1.3 inches, and I'm just going to cut this right in half. And this is what I'm going to use in the trunk just to make it hold together. Go ahead and turn your trunk right side out. And then we're going to fill this with a polyfill. Now you want your seam to go down the center. Okay, then go ahead and fill it with polyfill, leaving about 1 inch at the top. And then we're going to add some pipe cleaner in it too so we can bend it. So go ahead and take a piece of pipe cleaner, fold it in half, stick it in there. Then we're going to add a little bit more polyfill, and then we're going to actually add another pipe cleaner. So you want 1 pipe cleaner at the front and 1 pipe cleaner at the back. And then go ahead and fold the pipe cleaner over because you are going to have to put that styrofoam ball in there. And then add your other one right at the top. And then we're going to put our styrofoam ball in there with the flat side facing upward, and that's how we're going to attach it to the body. So go ahead and pull your fabric around it, kind of pull it up over the top because you do want to have a little bit to glue to the bottom. So go ahead and glue the sides, and then we're going to glue the bottom to the styrofoam. And that way you'll have a nice finished out edge on the face of the elephant. And then we're going to take a dowel stick and sharpen one end of it, and that's how we're going to attach it to our elephant's face. Just spend a little bit of time on this step, just making sure that you do get it sealed in good so you do have a nice finished edge when you put it on there. We're going to cut our dowel stick at 2 1/4 inches. And then we're going to go ahead and stick the point down into the styrofoam. And then we're going to glue the blunt end into it. Push it in about halfway. Just make sure you have enough room to go ahead and bend the trunk over. And then we're going to cut a hole right in the center and go ahead and attach your trunk. And then we're going to go ahead and glue it in. Just make sure that your seam is in the center. And then just go ahead and bend your trunk. Next, I'm just going to take some of these little doll eyes, and then I'm going to take a 1/2 inch circle that I cut out of craft foam, and I'm going to punch a hole kind of down towards the bottom. Because we're going to put our eye through here, and we want our eye to be down towards the bottom so that you're covering up the edge, because we just want the white part showing, and we're going to put that down towards the bottom of the head. And I'm putting my eyes about a 1/2 inch from the trunk, and I'm kind of centering it on both sides of the trunk. And just go ahead and make an indent there where you want your eye to be. And I'm putting the white part facing downward. Now I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife to cut the hole all the way through it. And you could have the white part on the top part or the bottom part either way. Just make it however you want it. But after I get them exactly where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and glue them in. And then I'm going to glue the bottom part of the white part so that it doesn't turn. Okay, that was super easy. I think he turned out super adorable. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it.